Theodore. He's a tugboat and a friendly tugboat too. A friendly tugboat too. Oh, Theodore likes to do the things that friendly tugboats do.
Hello. What a beautiful day it is outside. The kind of day that just puts me in a great mood. I think I'll go call Rodney and see what he's up to. Hello, Rodney. Yeah, isn't it a great day? What do you mean, no? Oh, the sky is blue. Sun is out. How can you not like blue? Oh, it's such a happy color. Is so? Is to? Is so? Yeah. No, well, I have to go too. Yeah, bye. Huh. I'm not in such a happy mood all of a sudden. Bickering with Rodney has almost put a dark cloud over my day. Just like the day that Theodore got in the middle of two Bickering barges. Of all the jobs in the big harbor, Theodore's favorite was towing barges. That's why today he was in such a good mood. He spent the whole morning towing Brunswick back and forth from the underwater pipeline they were building on the shore. That was fun, Theodore said when their job was done. I hope to get to tow you again soon. Me too, said Brunswick. Well, what about me? Asked Bayswater, who lived next to Brunswick. Will you tow me sometime too? Sure, said Theodore. Then he tooted goodbye and headed back to the Great Ocean dock. The dispatcher was glad to see him. I've got a very important job for you, Theodore, he said. All the other tugs are busy today, and there's another big load of pipes that has to go to the pipeline right away. I need you to tow two barges at the same time. Theodore smiled his biggest smile. Two barges at the same time. He'd never done that before, but he figured it would be twice as much fun as towing one. Theodore revved his engine in excitement and headed back to pick up Brunswick and Bayswater. Well, it was quite a job getting those two barges buttoned on together. But nobody seemed to mind. They were all so excited about their important new job and about being together. It wasn't long after Theodore pulled away from the dock, though, that things began to change. Bayswater, you're pulling on the rope, said Brunswick. No, I'm not, Bayswater replied. You're the one who's pulling. No, you are. No, you are. The two barges began to jostle back and forth. At first, Theodore couldn't understand why his friends were bickering. Then he realized what all the fighting was about. I'm not used to towing two barges together, he said. Maybe your ropes need to be hauled in a bit. Theodore tightened the ropes. The barges were happy for a while. How come Brunswick has more pipes than I do? Bayswater asked a few moments later. Theodore looked at the pile of pipes on the two barges. I don't think he has more than you, he said. See, Brunswick jumped in. You're always complaining. Am not, said Bayswater. Are too, said Brunswick. Am not. Are too. Theodore looked back and forth between his friends. They were bickering again, and it was beginning to hurt his stack. R2, M not, R2, M not, R2, M not, R2, M not. How can I make them stop? He wondered. Theodore looked around the harbor. Maybe he could find something else to talk about. Just then, he saw a splash by Willie's Island. Look, he said. Did you see something jump out of the water over there? Right away, the two barges stopped bickering and looked. Theodore smiled. Oh, it was so nice and quiet again. I wonder what it was, he asked. Probably a whale, said Brunswick. No, whales are bigger than that, Bayswater announced. It was probably a dolphin. A whale, Brunswick said in a louder voice. A dolphin, said Bayswater. Whale, dolphin, whale, dolphin. Oh no, thought Theodore. They're bickering again. Whale, dolphin, whale. It seemed that no matter what he said or did, these barges would find something to argue about. Suddenly, it seemed like a very long way to the pipeline. Dolphin, whale, dolphin, whale, dolphin, whale. Theodore was tired by the time they reached the pipeline, but he was still looking forward to the trip back. Brunswick and Bayswater, well, just weren't used to working together yet, Theodore told himself. They'll get along better this time. With lots of hope and a big smile, Theodore turned the barges around and headed home across the harbor. But soon, his smile disappeared. How come I have to be on this side again? Brunswick asked. Because you got to carry more pipes, that's why, said Bayswater. Did not. Did too. Did not. Did too. Theodore groaned. How could towing one barge be so much fun, he wondered, and towing two so much trouble? The dispatcher was watching the harbor for Theodore's return. He wanted to hear how the day had gone. Just then, Theodore and the barges came into view. R2, M not, R2, M not. Well, it didn't sound very good to the dispatcher. Did too. Did not. Did too. Did not. Did too. Theodore docked the barges and sailed back to the great ocean dock. He looked kind of glum. Was it hard work towing those two barges, Theodore? The dispatcher asked. No, said Theodore. It was hard work listening to them. They bickered the whole way. The dispatcher knew how difficult that must have been for Theodore. Theodore, he said, why don't you just take one barge to the pipeline tomorrow? Maybe towing one barge will be better, Theodore said with a sigh. But which one should I take? The dispatcher thought for a moment. Let's let Brunswick and Bayswater figure that out for themselves, he answered. The next morning, Theodore headed over to the dock, where the barges were waiting. All ready to go to the pipeline? Bayswater asked eagerly. Well, yes, said Theodore. But we're going to do something different today. Right, said Brunswick. I'm going on the other side. No, I'm going, Bayswater leapt in. It doesn't matter which side, Theodore said, because I'm only taking one barge today. Right away, the barges stopped bickering and looked at Theodore in surprise. Only taking one? Brunswick gasped. How come? Because you bickered all day long, Theodore explained. And the dispatcher said... Brunswick started it, Bayswater interrupted. No, Bayswater did, Brunswick jumped in. See what I mean? Said Theodore. And the dispatcher said that you have to decide which barge I should take. The barges were silent for a second. It's my turn to go. Is not. Is too. Well, all this fighting was too much for Theodore. Is not. Is too. The barges were so busy bickering, they didn't notice him sail away. Is not. Is too. Is not. He needed some peace and quiet to figure out what to do. How am I ever going to get all those pipes to the pipeline now? Theodore wondered. Is too. Is not. Is too. No, it's my turn, Brunswick was still saying some time later. Right, Theodore? Theodore! The two barges scanned the harbor, but Theodore was nowhere to be seen. "He's gone," said Bayswater. "Now neither of us can go to the pipeline. This is terrible." "You're right," said Brunswick. "This is terrible." The barges looked at each other in amazement. For once, they actually agreed on something. "We never agree," Bayswater said. "That must be a mistake." "Must be," Brunswick agreed again. Now they couldn't stop agreeing. "Oh, well," said Bayswater. "I'm sure we'll find something to bicker about once Theodore comes back." "I'm sure, too," Brunswick answered. "But isn't that why Theodore left in the first place?" Bayswater looked at his friend, and they both knew it was true. Suddenly, it seemed silly to let bickering get in the way of going to the pipeline with Theodore. "Since we're agreeing on everything else," Bayswater suggested, "why don't we try agreeing on who gets to move the pipes?" "Yes," said Brunswick. "Why don't we?" Theodore still hadn't figured out what to do, but he couldn't wait any longer. "I've got to get all those pipes to the pipeline today," he thought. "I need one of the barges to help me right away." Theodore headed off to the barge's dock, hoping they'd work things out. But Brunswick didn't look very happy to see him. "We still can't decide who should go," he said. And Theodore frowned. "Those pipes will never make it to the pipeline now." "I think Bayswater should go," Brunswick went on, "because, well, I got to go last time." "And I think Brunswick should go," Bayswater added, "because he's so good at it." Theodore looked back and forth between the two barges and smiled. Brunswick and Bayswater hadn't figured out who should go, but they sure had figured out how to get along. And that was all Theodore needed to figure out how to get the pipes to the pipeline on time. It wasn't long before Theodore had both barges buttoned on and on their way to the pipeline. "I think this will work out quite nicely, don't you?" he said happily to the barges. "Well, yes, thanks to Brunswick," said Bayswater. "He's been so easy to get along with." "No, thanks to you," Brunswick answered. "Oh, you're too kind, Brunswick." "No, you are, Bayswater." "No, you are." Theodore looked back and forth between his friends and laughed. This was working out quite nicely. Maybe even a little too nicely. "No, you are nicer, Bayswater." "No, you are, Brunswick." And you could hear those two barges all the way down the harbor. Yes, I know how Theodore felt. Just like I felt when I was bickering with my friend Rodney just a little while ago. You know, I'm going to call Rodney up and tell him. Who could that be? Hello? Oh, hi, Rodney. You're sorry? Well, isn't that funny? Well, I was just going to call and tell you that I was sorry, too. Yes, bickering is silly. Yes, it is a nice day, a very nice day. Bye-bye, Rodney. Oh, it's so much nicer to agree. Thanks for visiting us here in the Big Harbor. We'll see you all again next time. What a beautiful day. Or not.
Theodore, he's a tugboat and a friendly tugboat too. A friendly tugboat too. Oh, Theodore likes to do the things that friendly tugboats do. Pushing and a pulling in the great big harbor, in the great big world is so much fun. So many brand new things to discover. Waking with the sun, gotta get the job done. Oh, Theodore and Emily, Oda, Hank and George and the harbor master too.